Greetings, my magnificent ones. Sue Paulson here, your magnificence mentor. This week, that sleeping dragon that kind of lurks in the background of my mind started to just poke at me. Now, you know, dragons have claws, right? And a little bit like a cat's claw, when it pokes at you, it catches your attention, right? You get this little needle like, uh. Well, the poking started out as an uneasy feeling, and then it seemed to morph into discouragement. And then it built from there into despair. Well, by the time it got to that point, I was feeling really low. I and I didn't know where it came from. It was like a bolt out of the blue. The sun was shining. I was on a nice walk, and I couldn't make sense of it. And I thought, wow, it's been a long time since I had those feelings just fill my mind to the point of distraction, really. So it bothered me because here I am on this pathway of awakening to magnificence and being all that I am, which is a happy, glorious kind of quest that I have here. So this threw me off. Well, I came home. I sat with the feelings for a little while and just felt them. And then I tried to make sense of them. I tried to kind of figure out, well, what is this all about, really? I had no catastrophic happenings in my life. Life has been going relatively smoothly. Not as things are not coming into being as quickly I would like in relation to my work and my reason for being on planet Earth. But that was relatively normal. And so why this? Why now? Well, I realized as I had a good think about it that a lot of what was happening was ego-based. So if we want to think of our dragon, because everybody has one, each of us has an ego, each of us has that sense of a separate self that feels sometimes helpless, sometimes hopeless, sometimes bereft of any particular good thing coming their way. And the ego is designed to protect us, right? So when threat happens and our fight or flight focus kicks in, the ego does whatever it can to marshal its forces to protect us, to keep us alive, to keep us functioning. Because of course the ego knows that if we go, so does it. So it has a vested interest in its survival. The interesting thing, though, is when I've started on this path of embracing the fact that I am this integral shining part of consciousness, of all that is, of source, that I came from source, that I'm part of source, that I'm bigger than me in my human existence. That journey has caused my ego to jump up and down and be very fearful, that I'm going to leave it behind, destroy it, let it go. At any rate, whatever action I might take, it would disappear. Well, so ego goes into warrior mode. It pulls out its sword and hammers away at old notions and old beliefs and programs from out of the past that no longer serve, to get us to say, no, 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 you don't want to go that path. That's a fearful path. You don't know what's out there. That could be, that's too scary. That could be harmful for you. Just settle into your own little existence that somewhat comfortable. You're kind of surviving. You're sort of visible, but in a safe way. It'll be okay. Just go back in your box or go back in your cage and don't venture out. We'll protect you. We'll protect you. I, the dragon, will look after you. Well, we know there are conditions attached to it that. And when we do that, and I have retreated often into my smaller self, the challenge with that, though, is I don't have the same access to the good stuff. I can be happy, sort of. I can have little bits of joy, but they're just crumbs. All of the good things that I want in life, the joy, the peace, the sense of being a much grander part of all that is not as available to me when I allow ego to keep me trapped. To now, I haven't explored, I've read lots about ego, and if you were to ask me to, well, define ego, what is it really? I'm not sure that I know any better than whatever I've written and anybody else has written, but it seems as if it's that integral part of us that holds the shadow self, that holds on to all of the contrast that there is in the world in relation to anything that's negative, anything that pulls us back, and it's fear-based. There's no question that when we're first born, the big wide world can be pretty scary because we're defenseless. We have no defenses. We're dependent and reliant on adults and other people to look after us and to make sure we get our needs met, that we have enough to eat and we have clothing and we have all the things that are important. So ego works very hard initially to have us send the signals when all is not well. But at some point, we get in a little more independent and a little more independent and a little more independent. And ego starts to get a little frantic about that because all of a sudden it's out of control. So my movement has been more from trying to control things to realizing that I'm in charge of certain things. I'm in charge of the way I think. I'm in charge of the way I feel. I'm in charge of what I do about all those things, all my actions. That's what I'm in charge of. I know, and I've learned over time that I really don't have a whole lot of control over the outcome, about when it happens, about how it happens, about whether it happens. I don't have that kind of control. And of course, this is what freaks the ego out and causes it to unsheath its claws and want to really dig into you and pull you back and keep you safe. So what do we do about that? My tendency initially, after I quit feeling victimized about my ego, because ego can take the form of punishing parent quite easily, and well, it's not my fault, and I didn't mean to do that, and then I'm feeling victimized by this whole thing. Or I've gone along with my ego in survivor mode lots of times and said, oh, okay, well, whatever, I won't rock the boat, I'll just go along here and keep things on an even keel and do my best to not shake things up at all. And I've also gone into warrior mode where I've just frankly told that voice in my head, which was ego, the chatter that would go on and on and on like water on rock and wear me down and wear me down. And I just boldly say, shut up. And I keep saying it and keep saying it until it would quieten down and go away. Well, does it go very far? Nope. So the other strategy, and I mean, all those the going along and the warrior mode and victimhood, they all serve us at some point in time in a variety of ways. There's nothing inherently wrong with going in that direction. It's just that because I have this desire to feel a strong connection to heaven on earth, because this is really important to me, and to awaken to my own magnificence, then I need another way. I need a different way of dealing with fear-based actions. So, well, of course, one of the biggest abiding thing that I know can serve the antidote, I guess I would call it, is love. So what if I apply love to my ego? What if I, like a little child that's upset, that's very, very upset, and instead of shaking my finger and saying, no, 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 don't, you can't come in here. Don't do that. Don't do that to me. You have to be quiet, and force it to go away, or try to force it to go away, then I grab this ego and set it on my knee like a belligerent 3 or 4-year-old, and give it a hug and soothe it and say, it's okay. I've got this now. I'm big. I'm an adult. I've learned things that will help us get through this. We're in this together. And it's okay for you to be calm now. It's okay, even though there are big changes coming that you're uneasy about or afraid of. It's okay. We're going to be okay. Even if we don't feel okay, we're going to be fine. And there's this resonance with what the ego is feeling at that point in time. Well, and of course, the other thing that seems to work is to give ego a job to do and say, okay, ego, we're going in this direction. I know you're fretting about it. I know that it doesn't feel that comfortable. But your job is to see what you can do to make it feel more comfortable. Your job is to find new ways that we can embrace this big thing that we're moving into and feel good about it. So how do we do that? And so you give ego a task. Go make a list, or think about this, and then come back to me. And well, that seems to work better. And the other thing that occurred to me as I was dealing with this week, because of course my big question was, well, why this and why now? I realized that I must be having some level of success, and I'm making progress in my desire to really embrace the magnificence that I am. Because otherwise, ego, in fearing that I will let go of it, that I will destroy it, that it won't have a reason for being anymore, and I'll walk away from it, it fights back. It wants to rattle its saber and or unsheath its claws and work to drag me back. So I thought, oh, so rather than seeing it as a step back, like, oh, I thought I had worked through this and left this aside and I was done with that. Well, instead of thinking of it from the negative perspective, I came to understand that it's a signal that, yes, I'm moving forward. Yes, I'm getting there. So really, when it comes to dragons, I used to talk about this when I taught public speaking. The shadows of fear that come into our lives only become dragons when we run. Jim Henry had a beautiful song about this. What we need to look at with our dragons is we need to look at befriending our dragons, not battling them, not doing whatever we feel we must to conquer them, but to befriend them and say, okay, talk to me. Tell me what this is all about. This plays out every day in relation to people that we know. We might have a conflict with someone and they feel like the enemy until we talk to them. And we work to understand, well, what's this all about? And we listen for new information, and we listen for understanding, and we pull on our compassion. And then pretty soon this person doesn't feel like the enemy anymore. It was simply a misunderstanding or something like that, or you saw their pain points, which were pretty similar to your own pain points, and you realized, wow, we have more in common than I thought. And so instead of being the enemy, you're able to neutralize that scenario. Well, it's the same thing in relation to us inside of us. We have this shadow side, this ego side, that is often begging for attention, but it'll take any kind of attention. And it does. Acting out, yeah, you got my attention. But what if we give it love? What if we bring more love into our lives for our own very own selves, right within inside of us? What does that do in the soothing, in the gentling, in the loving? Give that a try. I think you'll find that there's not the same level of terror that can come in, that there's a smoothing out of those very rough edges, and an inner peace that comes from that, because I'm okay with me inside of me, regardless of what I'm facing on the outside world, regardless of circumstances, whatever comes my way. I'm good with me. So that's what I wanted to chat with you about. That's what life has been teaching me this week. And it was a big lesson for me. So I'm thrilled to be able to just share that with you today and encourage you to, when your ego starts jumping up and down and the claws come out and the dragon wants to pull you in, well, allow yourself to be pulled in and give that dragon a hug and say, okay, honey, what's going on here? Talk to me. Like what's this all about? Why this? Why now? What's happening? Talk to me. And then listen. And I think you'll find that it will ease and your ego will be soothed and satisfied. And then you can both go out for ice cream. That's it for today, my magnificent friends. If you would like more of what there is to offer in relation to awakening to your magnificence, check out our Magnificence Lab. My co-host, Chris Angel, co-creator, he created this lovely backdrop for me so that I can be in the lab every time I come on camera. Well, if you go to magnificencelab.org, you will find all kinds of podcasts there that Chris and I have done about our topic. You will find an invite so that if you're interested in seeking membership in the lab, then that's there for you too. So I encourage you to check that out and stay tuned for more in the Heaven on Earth series. Bye for now.